Okay, so today we will learn about the procedure. Okay, so in Snowflake we can write the procedure in basically different languages. So we will learn about the JavaScript. We'll learn about the SQL procedures. So first today we'll start with the JavaScript procedure. Okay. So what is procedure? Procedure is an object in Snowflake, like database object. It will be created inside the database, inside the schema. So let me select the database here first. Mm, okay. So a procedure will be created inside the database, inside the schema. And what procedure actually does, the procedural concept will be implemented here. Like you can implement if else condition, you can implement loops here. Okay, you can implement multiple SQL statement inside a single procedures and you can execute as a unit. So that is how basically it works. Procedure can be called through the task as well. I'll show you how to call that through the task and all. So let's start the some. We will see some example of the procedures and we'll understand how to write this procedure in case if you are working with the procedure, right? So first of all, the procedure statement will be like this. So this is the statement. Like today we are concentrating on the JavaScript procedure. So tomorrow we will see the SQL procedures as well. Okay. So for an example, let's say create or replace procedure name, then a float is the argument. Okay. Argument means input parameter. So we are taking an argument through the procedure. So create or replace procedure name, a float. A is the variable that I declared here, and basically that is the argument that we are taking into the procedure. This is the procedure name. Okay. Returns float means what type of what type of data the procedure will be returning. So that is mentioned by this one. So returns float. So whatever you are mentioning here, whatever type of data you are mentioning here, the same type of data you have to return. If you return any different type of value, then it should get an error. So that you have to take care. Okay, because whatever you are mentioning, that type of value should be returned. So for an example, returns float means, so it will be returning float type of values. After that, language JavaScript. So which language procedure you are writing, that you have to mention so that Snowflake can understand that what procedures you are writing. So this language JavaScript line you have to write. So these three lines is basically mandatory. After that, as then $$ is the starting of the body, $$ is the end of the body of the procedure. Okay. Now in between this $, you have to write the entire business logic. Okay, so what we am doing here, I'm taking one variable x and there I am assigning this value. Whatever I am taking as an argument, that value we are assigning into this variable, and after that simply I am returning this variable value. So basically whatever you are taking through this argument, that value you have to whatever we are sending through this procedure, that value is getting assigned to the x, and after that x is returning. So simply I can say whatever value I am passing, that will be returned. You can do some modification as well. So just start with, I'm just giving you a simple example. So you can, if you want to modify, let's say I want to multiply by 10, whatever value I will pass, I will multiply with 10, and that value I will assign to a variable, and that variable I'm returning. So that is what I'm doing. So let's say let's create the procedure and see how it works. So you can see the procedure got created, but don't be confused here. Whenever we'll be creating the procedure, Snowflake will show you the function created successfully. But that doesn't mean that you have created a function. You have created a procedure only. If you go here, if you see the public schema here, you can see the procedures has been created, not function. So in the procedure, test underscore proc has been created. So this is basically a procedure, but Snowflake always show you the writing like as a function procedure successfully created. Either you are creating function or you are creating procedure, it will be written like a function created successfully. Okay. So basically, so this is the way basically you can create a procedure in JavaScript. So this is the basic programming in the Snowflake. Okay. Now, here are some rules you have to maintain. First of all, like whatever argument you are taking, whatever rules I'm telling today, that is only applicable for the JavaScript procedure. Now, whenever tomorrow I'll show you SQL procedure, I'll tell you what are all the things that there in the SQL procedure. So whenever you are writing a JavaScript procedure, whatever argument you are taking through the procedure, that argument can be in a small letter, can be in a capital letter. There is no issue. You can see the A we have taken as a small letter. You can take it as a capital letter also. There is no issue. But whenever I will using that particular argument inside the body, I always have to take it as a capital letter. I cannot use it here a small letter of the argument. So that you have to understand. Okay. So if you execute, you will be getting error while executing the procedure. Procedure executes through the call statement. So call, then the procedure name, then the value you have to pass. So if I execute here, you will be getting an error. So this will not be able to understand. So whatever value you are taking, that you can take in a small letter, capital letter, it doesn't matter. But whenever I will be using that value inside the body, or I will be using that variable inside the body, I always have to use it in a capital letter. So then only the procedure will be working. Okay. So that you have to understand. So now you can see you are getting record. Okay. That is one thing. Second thing is, let's say you are returning float. Now, for an example, let's say if I delete this return statement, what will happen? If I delete this return statement, what will happen? So nothing. So it will return a null statement. So for an example, if I execute the procedure again, and after that, if I call the procedure here, so it will be returning a null value. Always it will return the value. If you are not having the return statement, it will be returning null here. Okay. Now, here you have an option to mention whether your return will be null or not null. So for an example, here I written not null. That means returns float not null. So that means return should not be null. Now, if you execute the procedure, you will be getting error because now you are returning null where you have mentioned your return should not be null. Now, if you execute, so you can see null results in a non-nullable column. So basically, if you have written here not null, then basically not here return statement is mandatory. Otherwise, it will throw error. You can see now it will be getting the output properly. So you can see this is the output. So basically, this return statement is very much important in case of procedure. Okay, and if you have mentioned not null here, then it must you have to include here. Okay. So this is the procedure. This is the way basically we write the JavaScript procedure in Snowflake. We'll see a lot of other examples as well. So let's come. For an example, let's say now I am passing three argument here. One is float, second one is also float, third one is string. Okay, same way we are writing procedure, create or replace procedure, procedure name, then three argument I am taking. Based on this argument, I will actually process these two variable. For an example, let's say in the double dollar, I'm writing if C is equal to add. That means whenever I will call the procedure, if I pass the C's value as an add, A double D, then these two number will be added. If I pass here SUB, then this number will be subtracted. If I pass here MUL, then this number will be multiplied. If I pass here div, then this number will be divided. So that I have implemented with the if condition. So if C, you can see C I have taken as a capital letter. Here I am using as a capital letter. So C is equal to add is equal to is the comparison operator. So C is equal to add means when C's value will be add, then second bucket started, and here you can see I have taken one variable X, I have taken one variable Y, there I have assigned this value, and after that I have taken another variable, and there I am assigning basically this to multiply adding, and after that returning this variable. Similarly, another if statement I started, and there if it is subtraction, so it will be subtracted. Similarly, if it is MUL, it will be multiplied. If it is DIV, it will be divided. Like that we are doing. Okay. Now after that complete. So whatever if statement will be basically satisfied. If I pass add, then this if statement will be satisfied. From here it will be return the value. If I pass sub, then this if statement will be satisfied, and from here it will be return the value. Like that other case also. So let's create the procedure. Once I created the procedure, I can call it through the call statement like this way. Let's say if I am giving division, then 5 divided by 4, 1.25 will be returned. Okay, because I am returning float value, so it is getting the float divide. So let's say I'm giving here add. So 5 plus 4, 9 will be returned. You can see this is the 9 is getting returned like that. Okay, so this is the way this procedure will be working. For an example, let's say I'm creating one table called tab1. Okay, and in that table, I have three column. One is ID, that is number, name, that is character, age, that is number. Okay. Now I will be inserting value in this table through the procedure. So for doing that, what I'm doing, I'm creating three basically a simple procedure where create or replace procedure, insert record, returns character, language, JavaScript. So this three line as it is, you have to mention as double dollar. Now these three lines of code you have to always remember. Whatever SQL statement you need to execute through the procedure, you have to execute by using this three line of code. Either you are inserting, or you are deleting, or you are updating, or you are selecting, or you are creating, or you are altering, what you are dropping, truncating, copying, whatever SQL statement you will execute through the JavaScript procedure, you always have to maintain these three lines of code. This you can do by using single line of code also, but this is the standard way to do the coding. So for an example, we are taking one variable MySQL command one, where I have assigned my entire SQL statement which I want to execute. For an example, I want to execute an insert statement which will be inserting value into this table tab 1 and values 1 Amit 10. Here I hard coded the value. I will show you how to use the value at the runtime also. So this is the insert into tab 1 values 1 Amit 10. So this is the entire SQL statement. This entire SQL statement I have taken into one variable. After that, I have taken another variable, and there I am taking is equal to snowflake dot create statement. What is snowflake? Snowflake is an object automatically created here inside the Snowflake database. This is basically this is the inbuilt object which is having couple of methods. By using those methods, we will be processing the entire procedure. For an example, I'm referencing by this statement one variable snowflake dot create statement, and inside this create statement we have taken SQL text as a keyword colon then MySQL command one. This MySQL command one is this variable. So first of all, within this variable, I'm taking the entire insert statement. Then this variable I'm directly using here. You can ignore this first line and directly you can take this string here also. But if this insert statement is, let's say, 1,000 line of big query, in that case, taking that entire 1,000 line here inside the bracket will not looks good. That's the reason we follow this pattern. So first we take that entire statement, SQL statement. Then this variable we take here inside this as a parameter. Create statement is the method of Snowflake object. Snowflake object is the inbuilt object in Snowflake database. Now create statement is the method of Snowflake object. By using this method, what we do, we prepare the SQL statement ready for execution. Whatever value it needs, that you have to pass here, and everything you have to do. So now for this SQL procedure, everything is hard coded. So I am not passing anything separately. Directly this SQL text we are taking here. After that, by referencing this variable, because this variable is now referenced with this SQL statement. Now by referencing this variable, we are calling the execute method. Execute is another method of the Snowflake object. You can directly call snowflake dot execute as well, that I'll show you later. But by this way, actually, we maintain the standard. So now snippet one dot execute, whenever I will call this execute because Snowflake statement 1 is referencing to this SQL statement. So that actually this SQL statement will be executing, and it will give you, it will insert the value into the table. Okay. So create statement method will be preparing ready, or it will be making ready this SQL statement for execution. If it needs any value, it will pass that value as well, and it will keep it ready for execution. And execute state method will be executing that SQL statement. Okay. Whenever this SQL statement will be executed, this value will be inserted into this table. So let's execute. So you can see the procedure got created. Now, if you call the procedure by this way, so it is done. So after that, it is returning done. So that's the reason it is returned that done. And after that, you can call it as a like select star. The value got inserted here. Okay, value got inserted here. So this is the way basically you can execute any type of SQL statements here. Okay. Now let's say that was the hard-coded value. Now I will take some value through the argument, and that value I will be inserting through the bind variable. Through the bind variable. For an example, let's say you can see here, create or replace procedure name. P1 is the double, P2 is the string, P3 is the double. Returns character language JavaScript as double dollar. We are taking the same 3 lines of code, just one changes is there. Variable state MySQL command 1 is equal to insert into tab 1 values. Here we have hard coded value in the last example, but here I am giving :1, :2, :3. :1 is the nothing but the it's a kind of basically what I can say, like placeholder, or you can say bind variable. This is the placeholder. So at the time of execution, it will check the value of the :1, :2, :3. It will ask this value at the runtime. At the compile time, we are not passing any value. At the runtime, basically, we need it will ask for the value. Okay, now whenever I assign this insert into the tab 1 values :1, :2, :3, this is the bind variable. This is the placeholder for the variable for the value. After that, again, same next line of code, like statement 1 is equal to snowflake.create statement. SQL text MySQL command 1 I have taken, and here I need to take a binds clause, because I told you create statement will be preparing this SQL statement ready for execution, and that's the reason this create statement is giving actually snowflake.create statement. This create statement is actually here we are passing the binds clause, and there we are passing the variables value. Now whenever this execute statement will be executing this insert statement, it will ask for the value of :1. Then this value will be finding here in the binds clause. P1 will be come as a :1, and what is P1? Whatever value we are passing through the argument. What is P2? Whatever value we are passing through this argument. What is P3? Whatever value we are passing through this argument. Now this way you can do that. Okay. So that's the reason this create statement will use. Create statement is actually passing all the values and everything which is needed to execute. So let's execute this procedure. Now whatever I will pass at runtime, that will be inserted into the table. So let's do that. Now simply if you call the table, you will be getting the value. Like you can see, this value has been inserted. Okay. So this is the way basically you can insert the value at runtime. Now if I want to see about my procedure, I can execute select star from information schema dot procedures. Procedures is nothing but information schema dot procedures is nothing but it's a view. Procedures is the view, and that is available in the information schema. By executing this view, you can find out what are all the procedures you have created inside the database, and related to that, everything will be passed. So like basically you can see here what are all the things are there. You can see these are all the JavaScript procedures, procedure definition it is created, and all those things are there here. Okay. So details are there. Argument, what are all the argument you have taken, what is the type of the argument, and all those things have been mentioned here. Okay, this is the procedure's name and all. So you can be able to see all the details about the procedure. Now there is a function called getDDL, as we already have discussed this function in the view class. getDDL function provides you or gives you the basically the definition of the object. Now, if you want to find out the procedures DDL statement, you can write select getDDL, then procedure, and then write the procedure name. So if you execute, you will be getting the entire procedure details here. Like it will be entire, basically the DDL statement will be returned. So earlier days is whenever we used to work in the basically command prompt environment or classic console environment. So generally there we didn't have this diagram, this communication tab open. Now here, if you refresh, all the procedures will be available. If you click on the procedures, if you go to the definition, you will be able to see the DDL statement. So that's the reason nowadays, if you are working with the Snowsite environment, this function is not in use. Like people don't use this function because they all automatically gets this definition from here itself. But if you are working with the command prompt and all, then this function is very important, because in that case you will not get the DDL statement, you will not get that basically this site options and all. And that is the reason basically it's very important to use that function. uh, 1 second. So you can use this function to get the object. Okay, you can use this function to get that object's DDL statement. Not only procedure, table, schema, database, every type of objects. You just have to pass the type of the object and the name of the object. Let's say table. Here you have to write table, and here you have to write the table name. View. Here you have to write the view. Here you have to write the view name, like that. Okay. Let's come to the next example. For an example, let's say I am creating here one table called orders table. Okay, now this orders table I'm creating here. So the orders table got created. Once I created the orders table, now you can see I have taken the 10 records into the orders table. Like I created the orders table, copied the orders table which is available in this database, in this schema. I'm taking only 10 records. So you can see this orders table is having 10 record available here. Okay, now I'm creating another table called order underscore backup table, where I have mentioned 1 is equal to 2. So simply I'm not taking all the columns, I'm taking couple of columns, and I'm creating other table, order underscore backup table. So now you can see there are two table. One is order table, which is having 10 record available. Now you can see this is the orders table, which is having 10 records available. I have another order underscore backup table, which is actually having that 3 column, but no records are there. Now by using loop, what I will do, I will take the value from the orders table, I will load the value into the order underscore backup table. That is what I will do. You can directly do it by insert statement, but I will do it to implement the loops here. For an example, let's say first what I need to do, I need to take the value from the orders table. That is what I am doing. As I told you, every type of SQL statement will be executed here through these 3 lines of code. So variable MySQL command. So I'm taking the entire insert statement, entire select statement here. Now this select statement I'm taking here. Okay. Now after the variable statement 1, Snowflake dot create statement, then I'm taking this variable here. So I'm preparing this variable for preparing this statement for execution. Now after that, I have taken another variable result set 1, is that which will be referencing statement dot execute method. Whatever the statement dot execute will be returning. So whenever this statement 1 dot execute will be fired, then this select statement will be executed, and whatever record will be returned, this variable will be pointed to that record. For an example, if I see this record will be returned by this select statement, right? And now this variable, like result set 1, will be working as a cursor variable here, and this variable will be pointing to this SQL statement. That's the reason I have taken one variable here. So this variable will be pointed to the return statement or return result set by the by this execute method. Okay, so this SQL statement will be returned, and this variable will be pointed to this statement. After that, I will start one while loop where I will use the result set 1 dot next. So while result set 1 dot next, so basically next will be returning the true if the next row is having value. So that means simple thing. Let's say first result set 1 will be pointing to this basically first record, and it will be returning true because this is having record. So it will be returning true. So whenever the result set 1 dot next will be returned true, it will come inside the loop. Whenever it will come inside the loop, first I will take three variable here, column 1, column 2, column 3. Column 1 will be containing result set 1 dot get column value. This next is the method of Snowflake object. By using this next, we are returning true, false. If there is a record in the cursor, then it will be returning true. If there is a no record in the cursor, it will be returning false. Or if all the record has been processed, it will be returning false. Okay. Whenever it will return false, it will come out of the loop. Okay. For an example, let's say while result set 1 dot next. So it will be returning true because the value is there in the cursor. So, and after that, I have taken three variable, and the first variable, second variable, third variable. First variable will have this value 1. Second variable will have this value this one. Third variable will have this value this one. Okay. Now result set 1 get column value. Get column value is the method of Snowflake, and if you are writing 1 means it will be giving you first column value. If you are writing 2 means it will be giving you second column value. If you are writing 3 means it will be giving you third column value. Now all these three columns value we are inserting into this three column, and then three variable, and then we are again inserting, again writing the same three lines of code. And there what we are doing, we are inserting this value into the order underscore backup table. Now you can see this column 1, column 2, column 3. These values we are inserting into the order underscore backup table. And after that, same three lines of code by using this insert to execute this insert statement. Like this way, all the row will be processed, and whenever it will reach to the last row, after that, basically this next will be returning false, and it will come out of the loop, and the procedure will be ending. So I'm taking the value from the orders table, inserting the value into the order underscore backup table. So let's execute. So you can see this procedure has been executed. Now, once it is executed, now if you call here the procedure, so you will be able to see that procedure is getting executed, and it will be getting the value into the order underscore backup table. If you call this order underscore backup table, now you can see the value has been inserted here. And for where did you get that value? From the orders table. So this is the way basically you can execute loops. You can use the cursor things and all in the JavaScript procedure. Okay. Now, for an example, let's say you want to delete the data from the table. So simply you can do again same three lines of code. So JavaScript procedure is, it looks like a little bit complex, but the thing is that if you practice one time, so it will be easy for you. Any type of SQL statement, if you execute, you have to do it by this way only. So this pattern, if you remember, then everything is easy. So for an example, let's say variable, I have taken one variable. Now I want to delete the record from a table. Simply delete from, and plus is a concatenation operator. Like it is concatenating with the string with the variable. So delete from is the string concatenating with the variable. Delete from the table name I am passing through the argument. Whatever table name I will pass, it will delete the data from that table. After that, variable statement 1, again same line of code, then again same line of code, execute, and then return 0. So simply it will be basically basically deleting the record from the table by using this procedure. So now you can see it is created. Now whenever I will call the procedure, I call the procedure as a table name. I'm passing the orders. So whenever I will call, the data from the orders table will be removed. So now you can see, if you select start from orders, no data is there, completely empty, because the procedure has been yeah, tell me any question.
Hey Amit, I think your screen got froze. It's only for me, or it's everybody is not able to see the screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing again. Now
Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, I'm able to see my screen. See the screen.
Here also it was not froze on you.
No.
Okay. I thought it's frozen.
Okay.
Okay, I was not able to see from last like 2 or 3 minutes. It froze on me. Now I can see. Yeah, go ahead, Amit, please.
Okay. So this is the way basically you write the SQL statement through the procedure. Okay, fine. Now, for an example, let's say if whenever I create a procedure, there are two type of basically privileges can be possible. One is ownership privilege, another one is usage privilege. For an example, if you have created a procedure by using any specific role, that role will have the ownership privilege on that procedure. For an example, let's say if you want to check the privileges for any object, you can go with the object privileges view. This view is available in the information schema for every database. This view is actually provides you the all the objects privilege, not only the procedure, all the objects privilege related information it provides. If you execute this view, you will be getting here. You can see the table. I'll show you. You can see table, database, every object, whatever object you create here, procedure, schema, all objects, privilege related information will be provided here. Okay, if you write here your object type is equal to procedure, then only procedures details will be getting. So you can see there what are all the procedures we created. All the procedures information will come here. Now till now these are all the procedures we have created, and you can see all the procedures informations are coming here, and these are all the procedures, and you can see privilege type is the ownership privilege. Okay, now if I provide usage privilege to anybody, then basically that particular person will be getting the usage privilege. For an example, let's say if I provide grant usage on procedure, let's say any procedure you can take. Let's say I'm taking this procedure, delete data, and you can see it is taking argument as a string. Okay, so grant usage on procedure name, argument you have to pass, not variable, argument, only argument. To role, let's say I am providing this procedure access to the sysadmin. Now if I execute, so it is provided. Now once that is provided, now you can check it by again this procedure. So you will be getting here two entries of the delete data procedure. You can see here, I'll show you. You can see this is one delete data which is having ownership privilege. This is another delete data which is having usage privilege, and this usage privilege is there to the sysadmin. So that is the reason I mentioned here. There are two type of privileges there. One is usage privilege, one is ownership privilege. Usage privilege I provided to the sysadmin. That's the reason sysadmin got the usage privilege on this procedure. Now account admin created this procedure. That's the reason account admin is getting the ownership privilege. Okay. Now let's say I'm creating one table called error underscore log table, which will be tracking the error. If you face any error in the basically while creating the procedure, if you face any error, that will be tracked by the this table. Okay. So let's say create or replace table, error log table. Here I have taken error code, error state, error message, error track trace. These are all the things column I have taken, and I'm executing this error log table here. Okay. Once the error log table has been executed, after that I'm writing one procedure here. This procedure, what it will do, it will basically call the basically it will I will show you if any error comes at the runtime of the procedure, how we will handle it. For an example, create or replace procedure broken. This is the procedure name. Returns character not null we have mentioned here. Language JavaScript as $. I have taken one variable called results. Now we will use the try catch a block here. Not only in this procedure, every procedures you are writing there, you can use the try catch a block. Try catch a block is by using that you will be handling the exception in the procedure. Whatever business logic you want to write, that you have to write in the try block, and if any error comes, that you have to handle in the catch block. Okay. For an example, in the try block, I am writing snowflake.execute. Directly, we are calling the execute method. You can do it like that way also. So we are writing here snowflake.execute, and here SQL text we have taken, and there I am taking invalid command. So it should be here. We should write a particular SQL statement. Let's say instead of invalid command, let's say I'm writing here select from orders, like that I'm writing. So we should mention the column name select from orders. This is not a valid SQL statement, right? This is the invalid. If I execute only this statement, you should get an error. So that means this select statement is having an error. Whenever it will get an error here, so I want to get an intentionally error so that I can show you the cache block implementation. So whenever we are getting an error here, so from this line directly it will go to the cache block. First, the results value will be basically taking the failed, because if this line successfully executed, then this result will be then the results value will be succeeded, and this results value actually we are returning. So either the try block successful, then it will return succeeded. If it comes to the cache block, it will be stored failed. So at the time of catch, basically any error, it will return failed here. So whenever it will get an error here from this line, it will not execute the next line. It will directly go to the cache block. ERR is the cache block object. Now here results is equal to failed, and after that snowflake dot execute, and here we have taken SQL text insert into error log values. We have taken here a couple of questions. This is another way to handle the bind variable. Now after that we have taken in the binds error dot code. Error, what is error? Error is nothing but this is the object of the cache block. Error dot code. Code is nothing but the Snowflake's inbuilt keyword. If you have work in the SQL Server or Oracle, you know there is a inbuilt keyword is there, like SQL ERRM, SQL code. So by using those statement, actually we gets the runtime error. Whatever the error we are getting runtime, those error will be defined by those particular clause or by those particular inbuilt code. So here this code is the inbuilt keyword, state is the inbuilt keyword, message is the inbuilt keyword, stack test txt is the inbuilt keyword. Okay, so you can see. Sorry. It is not coming in a single line. Okay, so you can see in the binds we have mentioned error.code. That means whenever the runtime, whatever error it will get, the code will give you the code of the error. Message will give you the actual message of the error, like that. Okay, and that value we are inserting into the error log table in this table. Okay, so what will happen whenever this procedure will be executed? It will, if it gets any error here, from here it will come to this cache block. It will print failed. Then this execute statement will be called, and basically by using that we will be inserting the value into the error log table. And to get the runtime error, we will be having this code state message stack trace txt. This keyword we will be using so that the actual error will be inserted into this error log table. That is the reason. Okay, so let's try. Let's execute the procedure and call the procedure here. Now you can see it is returned failed here, and once it is failed, after that if you call here like select star from broken, sorry, select star from error log. Now we will be able to see that value has been inserted here. 1003 is the error code. This is the message. We are getting the error with the select statement, and exact position also it is telling where the error got. Snowflake.execute. This is the Snowflake.execute. Line number 4. Why it is saying line number 4? Because the line count will start from $. 1, 2, 3, 4. At line number 4 in Snowflake.execute, you got the error. So exact position also it will tell you. Like this way, at any error if you face in the procedure, we handle that error and we insert the error into the log table. Okay. So this is the way basically we handle the exception in the JavaScript procedure. Now I'll show you very good example with the data loading. So for an example, let's say we want to load the data into Snowflake, but we want to maintain some incremental data loading process. What is incremental data loading process? I'll show you. For an example, let's say I have a customer.csv file. So generally I have some two files available. So for an example, two files available. This is the first day's file. So let's say this is the customer.csv file, and this is the file actually, the customer.csv. Now in this file, we have customer ID, customer name, location, product ID, contact details. Now this file will this file will be loading the data into the table, or maybe this file will be receiving first day. So there are two files. Both file is the customer file. You can see here both file is the customer file. In the first day's file also customer file, in the second day's files also customer file. You can see here this is also customer.csv. So first day one customer.csv will come to the AWS portal, and this file will be loaded to your table. Okay, this file is having customer ID, name, location, product ID, contact details. Okay, so this data will be inserted into the table. So this is the first day's file, and you can see in this file we have C0012 C010. That means 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. All the 10 customers details are available in this file. Okay, now let's say I'm closing that file here. Now second day I will be getting the same file. So let's say another customer.csv file I am getting. And in this file I have total 6 record. Now 11 12 13, these records are new record. So you got my point. First day I got the last file, which is customer.csv, and there I have total 10 records. Now next day I got another customer.csv file, and there I have total 6 record. In between this 11 12 13 is the new record that is coming into the file, but this 4 5 6, which record is already there in the last file also. Might be there is some changes in the record, so that's the reason these records are coming in the next day's file also. Now if I load these two file as it is to the table, and because Snowflake does not restrict any data to load, that's the reason this C4 C5 C6 also will be loaded to your table as it is, and it will be creating a duplicate row in the table, because already 4 5 6 has been loaded by your last file. Already 4 5 6 has been loaded by your last file, and this file also getting the 4 5 6 record. So if you load this record as well as it is, then it will be creating a duplicate record. So that's the reason by using procedure we will be implementing the incremental data load process. So second day, whenever I will get any file, I will compare whether this record is already available in the table or not. If the record is available, then we will go for update. If the record is not available, we'll go for insert. So that is what we'll do. So let's see how basically we will be doing. So I'll go to the AWS. Let me sign in first. So in the S3 bucket, if I go, so right now I will check here first that which bucket is right now connected. So this is the bucket it is connected. I'll go here and I'll open it. So let's open it. Now here I will be creating one folder. Let's say I'm creating one folder called procs for an example, and create a folder here. So you can see the folders got created. Now here I will be uploading my first day's file. So what is the my first day's file? I will go to the incremental load IDL. This is the first day's file. Okay, so let's upload. So upload the file here. Now you can see this is the file got uploaded here. Okay, now once the file got uploaded, I will be starting the working here. So let's say I create one database. I will be creating one file format. So these are all not I already have explained multiple times these steps, so I'm not explaining it again here. So while data loading, what are all the steps you followed? The same steps you have to follow here. Creation of the stage, creation of the file format, creation of the integration object. Here already integration object is there. That's the reason I didn't create it. But if you are using new account, new bucket, you have to create the integration object as well. Creation of the stage. So let's say I'm creating the stage. Okay. Now I will be creating one raw customer data table. I will be creating two tables here. One is raw customer data table where we will be having customer ID, name, location, phone number, and product ID. So raw customer data table will always get the data from the file directly to the table. So let's execute, right? So raw customer data table I created. I will create one customer table also. So this is the customer table I am creating. You can see the same columns we are having. So the customer data, customer table also we created. Now both the tables is empty. Now I will be creating one procedure. So that procedure will be, first it will truncate every time whenever the procedure will be calling. It will be truncating the raw customer data table, and it will load the data into the raw customer data table by using the copy statement. You can see while truncating same 3 lines of code. You can see while copying the data same 3 lines of code. Okay. So first I will truncate the data from the raw customer data table. Then I will load the data from the S3 bucket to the raw customer data table. So let's execute. So the procedure got created. Now what I'll do, I will execute through this procedure through the task. I'm not creating task, but you guys will be practicing with the task. I need to explain, so I'm not creating with the task. So simply first I'm creating one task which will be calling the procedure. So for an example, if you mention here, let's say at 2 o'clock every day at 2 a.m. if you have call, so I'm giving it like that. But schedule I already have explained. You have to use the cron expression and all. So let's say schedule is equal to 2 a.m. you have given. Now every day this task at 2 o'clock will be executed. Whenever it will execute at 2 o'clock, first this procedure will be called. Whenever the procedure will be called, what it will do, it will truncate the data from the raw customer data table. It will load the data to the raw customer data table. A fresh file will be loaded to the raw customer data table. Okay. Now once it is done, then that means once this task is successfully completed, I have a basically a child task of this task. So you can see this task, after this task means once this task is successfully completed, another task will be started immediately. And what it will do, it will execute a merge statement. So by using this task, basically by using this procedure, we are getting the data into the raw customer data table. Now whatever data we are getting in the raw customer data table, that we will compare with the customer table. We will execute the merge statement into the customer and we'll compare with the raw customer data table by using the customer ID. If that is available, that means whatever the data is there in the raw customer data table, if that is already available in the customer table, then in that case it will match condition will be found, and it will be updating the data into the customer table with the raw customer data's data. If it is not matched, whatever record will be new record, they will not match, they will come into the not match condition. then the data will be inserted into the customer table. So these two steps will be followed. So let's check. First it will execute the load data whenever this task will execute. So I'm running it manually, so you will be doing it with the task. So generally this is how we implement in real time. So generally, let's say now the data should be loaded into the raw customer data table. So let me go here and you can check. The file has been inserted into the raw customer data table. So entire 10 records are available into the raw customer data table. Okay, now you can see in the customer table, we don't have any value. In the customer table, we don't have any value right now. You can see 0 record. Now, once this procedure has been executed, immediately this task will be calling and it will be executing the merge statement. Now, at this time, there is no record in the customer table, so no condition will be matched. So that means all the record will be inserted here, right? If no condition match means it will come to when not match condition and it will insert all the record into the customer table. So let's execute this one. You can see 10 record has been inserted into the customer table. So now you can see, so if you check the customer data, it inserted all the 10 record into this table. Okay. Now for an example, let's say next day, again, the same file has came for an example. Let's say I'll go to the IDL, I'll go to the second days, I'll take this column and I'll upload here. So next day, same file came. Okay. Same file came means that same customer.csv came, but it came in the next day. Now next day again at 2 o'clock, this procedure will be calling. Whenever this procedure will call, what it will do, it will first truncate the raw customer data table. Right now the raw customer data table is containing 10 record, the old files 10 record. Now the raw customer data table will be first, it will truncate and then it will load the latest file to the raw customer data table. So let's do that. You can see right now 6 records are there in the raw customer data table. The last day's record has been deleted and new record has been inserted. Now this 6 record, now it will compare with the customer table by using this merge statement. So now if this customer ID is matched, now in that case, what are all the customer ID will be matching? This customer ID, this customer ID, this customer ID. Because these 3 record already available in the customer table. Now this condition will be matched. For them, the record will be updated. For an example, in the last file, C004 location was Kolkata. Location was Hyderabad. C005 location, PID was P03. And C006, the location was Bhopal. Bangalore. If you check the customer table, let me go here. If you check the customer table right now, the customer table having, you can see against 004, it is Hyderabad, it is P03, it is Bangalore. That was in the last file. Now, whenever the latest file they send, in the latest file, you can see these 3 records has been modified. So you can see 4 against 4, it is became Kolkata. Hyderabad became Kolkata. Product ID P03 became P05 and Bangalore became Bhopal. Now for this 3 record, it will be updated into the customer table so that no duplicated record creates. Okay. So that is what, whenever will the execute the merge statement. So for that 3 record, it will be matching the condition, it will be updating, and remaining 3 record, it will not match the condition and it will be inserting. So you can see 3 record will be updated, 3 record will be inserted. Now if you check the table in the customer table, like let's check it here. Now you can find out, like you can see against C004 it became Kolkata, it was Hyderabad, it became Kolkata, it became P05, it became Bhopal, and total 13 records are there. 10 records earlier was there and 11, 12, 13. This 3 new record has been inserted here. So this is how basically we handle the incremental data loading through the procedures, through the task and procedures. Okay. By using task, we can automate the procedure execution in Snowflake. Okay. Fine. Clear? Any doubt? Any question? Okay. So today is the JavaScript procedure is completed. Now tomorrow I'll show you the SQL procedure. But I request you guys, please create an Azure account if possible, because my Azure account is not working. So I need an Azure account to be basically take the class on Azure. So it's a free account. If anybody is having the account, you can share the user ID password with me. Otherwise, you can create a new account also. Okay. Fine. We'll join again tomorrow and we'll continue. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The meeting has ended. Thank you for joining. Goodbye.